New developments. The Virginia bus driver accused in that deadly highway crash that took the lives of 5 people from Massachusetts, 4 of them being a Greenfield family, could be released on bond. 48-year-old Jin Dong is facing 5 counts of involuntary manslaughter in connection with the crash. Now, yesterday, a Stafford County judge granted a $25,000 secure bond on 3 of those 5 charges in circuit court. The judge also issuing bail conditions stating Dong is not allowed to consume any alcohol or drugs unless a doctor prescribes them, and to surrender his U.S. and Chinese passports, personal driver's license, and his commercial driver's license. The other 2 charges will be decided by a general district court. Dong's preliminary hearing is now set for August 28th.